What is packing with you, YouTube? Cage TV back with another video. And like I said on a video that I did about Aaron Rodgers getting benched, which is almost close to like 8,000 views, which is insane. I think everybody came to watch that video just to see the negativity brought on Aaron Rodgers. You know, the Packers is still my team, whether they play good or bad, whether I have a fucked up opinion about them or a great opinion about them. You know, it's always going to be go Pack go. So with that being said, and now that we got all that riffraff out the way, Aaron Rodgers joins the Pat McAfee Show with, I think he's still the all-time leading tackler, or has the all-time leading tackles, or maybe that might be Clay Matthews who might have that. But anyway, AJ Hawk, Super Bowl champion, AJ Hawk. I think he finished his career with the Cincinnati Bengals. But yeah, let's get into this shit and see what Mr. Rodgers had to say. Aaron.
Obviously did not have his greatest football game this past weekend, but there are still 16 games to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers.
That's right. Clap it up, fellas. Clap it up for the 2020 MVP.
I got the light working. That special thing you sent me is working. I'm illuminated now.
Let's go!
That's what you wanted.
Hey, no, it's not what I wanted. Okay, I just wanted you to be able to, you know, rest your arms, because on Tuesday, especially late in the season, you were holding that thing and it looked like, you know, I don't want to be the reason why anything happens to your arms or anything. We just thought, you know, you deserve a chance to take the load off. Sit back, have a conversation with a couple guys. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pat. Appreciate that.
All right, let's get right to it. You see AJ, he's in a hotel in Los Angeles. He just got back from the Met Gala thing, and he'll be, his Wi-Fi will be terrible. I just want to let you know, and it has been already, but we will figure it out as we go. First question, let's get right into this thing. What the hell happened, you think? If you had to just go back and analyze what happened, I know we probably buried the ball, but what happened down there in Jacksonville?
We want to know. What happened? Let us know.
Buried the ball. I know what that's a reference to. Yeah. That's a great reference.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel good about it.
Yeah, man, it was one of those days. You know, you play long enough, you can have one of those. We had one of those last year too, so we had, you know, a couple of rough ones in Florida, unfortunately. But you know, I got the few text messages that I did get went something like this: "Hey, there was a team that lost 38-3 last year to the Saints."
Talking about the Buccaneers.
Oh, okay, thanks for that. I don't know what kind of lining that is. You just think, you know, I'm trying to make chicken
Come on, Aaron.
There, but, you know, it was a rough one for us. Offensively, we were bad. Defensively, we couldn't get off the field. And, you know, you turn around there, we had a minute 9 left in the first half, and we, you know, 17-0, and we've run 12 plays. So it was weird games where it seems like the clock is just running the entire time, and on offense we weren't in rhythm at all. And you know, we came out second half and had a good drive together, and then I throw a pick, and that was basically the game right there. Everything just kind of turned at that point.
The offense wasn't playing up tempo. I give them that. Y'all did come out there slow to the line, almost every damn offensive snap. Was no sense of urgency or anything like that. But so I give them that. I give Aaron that.
Hey, what do they do? What does the Saints defense do to make it like that? To make it a rough day? I'm from watching it a lot of times. And we had Matt Castle, the cast dog, on before you.
Cast dog.
And he said, I asked him, like, hey, is there times when like guys just legit aren't opening those windows are tiny? It felt like that watching the game. Like, what do teams do to do that, where they can find a way to kind of take windows away and also put pressure on them?
Well, kind of the opposite of how they played last year at the Superdome. Last year, without Devontae, there was a lot of pressure. Malcolm, I feel like, blitzed a bunch of times on one edge. Davis was blitzing a bunch. I think it was almost 50% total pressure. This year was very, very minimal pressure, so they just kind of sat back and a lot of too high stuff, and then some disguise too high, where they're kind of shading safety to one side of the field, and the backside safety is kind of inserting for 3 going vertical or doubling. A lot of times Devontae backside if the opportunity presented itself. So it was a good job. You know, did a nice job stopping around the front, front 4, front 6-ish. It was a light box most of the day. So when they're stopping the run with the light box and they're covering to go to the back end, it's going to be a tough day if you can't find those tight windows.
I've said this a couple times. I think I actually heard, and I don't know if you said it aloud or not, but whenever you were in your end zone and it was that second one that was caught by the other team, I actually heard, I think, fuck it. Did you say that into a microphone, or how did I hear that? Was that in my head?
Shit, he should have said that.
Because I think that was a pass that a lot of people looked at, and they were like, that's not what Aaron Rodgers do. Were you just trying to get a shot, seeing if MVS was down there, or did you know maybe this was like a punt if this thing gets picked off anyways? And did you get to the point where it was like, fuck it, in that game, which would have been understandable?
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't have said fuck it at one point in my mind, but I don't think it was on that play. No, it was just, they were, like I said, they were playing the backside at safety there, low on the backside. Devontae had a corner on the backside. I was thinking he was going to kind of stay with him and kind of double Devontae. And when I took my eyes off him, he did a nice shot, went back to another field, and I was still in the Marquez on that one. I do want to talk about the first one.
Okay, yeah.
I think that there's have to be multiple ones, but for those of you who went back and watched it, or go back and watch it, I don't like to make a lot of excuses for interceptions. There's some shit ones, there's some, ones you wish you had back. There's some ones that really aren't your fault. That one was entirely due to the double nut shot I took.
Wow.
I'm gonna go back and watch it. But I stepped up in the pocket. I was going to throw it across my body to Devontae. It was going to shell across. And, it's a ball I've thrown in practice before. I didn't feel bad about that throw. And right before I'm throwing it, I took a left kind of clothesline that, A.J. Hawk or Brady McBain clothesline. And somebody on the right, with a right kind of cross, double nut shot that, I guess I got to overcome that and throw a better ball.
Damn.
That was a painful one. I do.
That I didn't know.
They got their money's worth on that one.
Okay.
Is it an excuse?
Before AJ and the
Who knows?
Who
knows if it's an excuse?
There's going to be people with Aaron Rodgers, which is obviously.
But then again, he did get hit on that play. If you go watch it, he did get hit.
It's going to get speculated, criticized, and everything like that. You coming on this show and being this relaxed, people are going to talk about, oh, he doesn't care. The game, obviously, with everything that happened in the offseason, oh, this guy doesn't care. Is there any reason to address those things by you? And if I'm out of line for even asking the question, obviously tell me to fuck off. But that's things that are being said immediately after a performance like that with that offseason. What are your thoughts on that? And what was the locker room, afterwards around you? We saw Bakhtiari, obviously. But what is the team like? Is this a bunker mentality situation, you think, now?
No. I mean, I think it might be a freak out outside of the facility.
Yeah, it was.
I think it's just
fans went crazy.
It's a good learning lesson for us. We can't play like that.
Get the bad games out of the way early.
I said after the game, our energy level was a little bit low before the game. We got to do a better job responding to adversity. So, look, there's not much to say. We got our asses beat, by 35 points. We're all frustrated about it, but just move on. We got 16 more to go. We can't dwell on this one and let it impact this next week. We got NFC North on. We got a Monday football game. Any great competitor, is never okay with losing, but I think the response has to be, the thing you set your mind to. Well, this is Tuesday already. Monday, yesterday, you watch the film, you flush it, and Tuesday, you start moving on to the next one.
Hey, what about halftime adjustments? You hear people, especially commentators, say, oh, this guy's great at making halftime adjustments. Can you really do a whole lot? You
yeah, Matt LaFleur, what happened?
2.5 minutes with your coach during halftime after you take a leak, and who knows what else you're doing. You're attending to your double ball shot. You got to get that fixed too.
Now, hey, he's asking this question. I don't know if you saw this, because Peyton Manning and Eli Manning last night on the Monday Night Manning basically said, like, everybody talks about these halftime adjustments, and Peyton and Eli were like, who has the time to do that? Like, is that even a real thing? And I think that's why AJ, who didn't get to see that because he was traveling to that yuppie affair that he's at right now, obviously black tie, this whole thing, but is that real, or is there some more work you can get in depending
All right. Let's discuss this right quick. They just said, you heard it from Peyton Manning. If you went and watched the show where Peyton Manning and Eli Manning had their show, Eli was via, I think, satellite, it was via Zoom or whatever. And they were explaining how during halftime, you have no time to make halftime adjustments because it's just too much going on in the locker room. Dudes are getting looked at for injuries, knick-knack injuries, sprains. They're trying to take care of players and get them back on the field. Dudes got to use the restroom, Coaches is having meetings. It's just a whole lot going on. So should we be saying throw all of the halftime adjustment bullshit out the way? Or is that more of a upstairs thing where the guys that be up in the booth, do they make the halftime adjustments? So that's a good question to ask.
On what stadium you're in and how long that walk is.
Is AJ at the backup Met Gala? I didn't see him on
Yeah. Probably.
That Met Gala is trash. I know it's about art, but
Look,
still, that shit is, them celebrities be looking stupid.
I think there's opportunities for conversations, but a lot of times it's the coaches huddle at one point and the players have conversations. So I don't think you get a massive wholesale changes. I mean, a lot of teams might have a first half plan and second half plan. But I think for us, it's just about what little conversations can be had about things that happened that we can adjust to better in the second half, or what did we see from a protection standpoint, a pressure standpoint, that we have to do a better job. Like, they hit us with the pressure in the first half, a lot of times they might try to hit us with the same pressure in the second half. So I think those are the most important conversations to have. But massive wholesale changes, I think that's one of those, sports talk things that, like Peyton Eli said, it doesn't really happen.
Did you watch it at all last night?
Per my usual, I had it on mute to start, and then I realized that Peyton and Eli were doing that over there, so I clicked over and enjoyed that a lot. Those two, they've been trying to get Peyton on there forever, and it's nice to see those guys. They got a good rapport with each other, and it was good having those guests on there.
Peyton's going to be watching film like he's you for this upcoming Monday Night Manning. But that's what it felt like he did. He watched film as if he was the Raiders starting quarterback. He even reached out to a couple of coaches to hear what plays we were running. Then he did the same thing on the Baltimore side. And watching him go through that game, I assume it's pretty similar to how you watch a game. Is that accurate? Like, it's hard to watch games as a fan once you become like this incredibly cerebral, successful quarterback. Is that how you watch every football game, the same way Peyton does that?
I think so. And the thing that I enjoyed was actually from Eli when he was commenting about the people in the crowd. That's him and Peyton talking about, some of the folks in the crowd, like the big dude had his shirt off and stuff. Like that's kind of how I watched the game too. But I feel like they dispelled some myths of watching the game. I'd have to think about. But just in the moment, they were saying things that some sports analysts will say things a certain way to make it seem like they know what they're talking about. But watching those two guys, like that's how we watch games. It's ball. It's not that like crazy up and down. You're kind of looking for similar things and thinking about the same type of things like Peyton was talking about. Getting the ball to wall, big tight end, and marveling at the way Edwards came through in the fourth quarter. Like that's how we watch a game. Like you're watching individual players and situational stuff. I thought it was brilliant. And if I'm around to watch Monday Night Football again, I'll probably watch those guys.
I think a lot of people are going to, and I think the Mannings currently have the ESPN like in quite a predicament money-wise. Yeah. That's going to have to be something, and I can't thank you. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers joining us right now. Ty, go ahead, pal.
Aaron, you mentioned a couple people talking about the Saints beating the Bucs last year, 38-3, and obviously them going on to win the Super Bowl. The last time you threw 2 picks in a season opener was 2010. You guys ended up winning the Super Bowl. I assume you knew that, and that's why you decided to throw the 2 interceptions. Is that the case? And also, you mentioned getting hit in the nuts, and you took a couple shots. How do you feel physically today?
I feel good. I don't think I took that many shots. One of my first days playing football in 8th grade, I wore a cup. Now, that was my last day wearing a cup. I don't think I'll be doing that again, but definitely thought about that after that.
Hey, big one. Get a big one, obviously. But I'm just saying.
The Duke. It's called the Duke. It wraps all the way around.
But to answer your question, I didn't remember that at the top of my brain until I also was texted that by a friend. So, I got about 6 texts. I think 2/3 of them had to deal with something around the 38-3, Bucs Saints game, or the fact that I threw 2 picks in week 1 of 2010.
Hey, this is positive people around you, though, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And they say, sometimes you got to go through rough times to find your treasure. That's what the boy had to do. And obviously, we'll talk about, the album. At the end of this thing, we got some more questions before we get to the Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you ready? Pat read it all for sure.
Are you kidding me, dude? It's about finding your own personal legend. Why don't you fucking do it, AJ? Why don't you read it?
I guess that's it, man. I guess he explained it.
I'll read,
I mean, what else you want to hear?
Send me your Cliff Notes.
Go to Pat McAfee on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel. Every Tuesday, Aaron Rodgers will show up and discuss.
I mean, if we're gonna have this conversation, let's have the goddamn conversation.
Every Tuesday, Aaron Rodgers will come on the show and give his analysis on why we lost and why we won. I'm out.